Hi everyone at Budbrooke. I'm Miss List if you don't know me, and I'm the English lead at our school, and alongside other teachers I've been planning an exciting book week, and today we're going to kickstart with a virtual visit from an author who lives local to us called Sam Langley Swain, and he was planning to visit our school today. But as he can't come in at the moment, he has shared a video with us which will inspire our writing this week, and later on this year he's going to come and visit and run the workshops that he previously planned to. Whether you're learning at home or in school this week, I'm hoping you have an important parcel in front of you right now. A huge thanks to all the wonderful staff at our school who helped hand deliver most of these books to your houses. It's now time for you to open your parcel and see what's inside. Don't look in this book. I was talking to you. Yes, you right there. You'd better not look inside. Don't read on. Don't you dare. If you do dare to look inside, then follow this link and listen to the author himself, Sam Langley Swain, sharing the stories inside. He'll explain more about being an author and answer some of our important questions. As Sam has just shared with you, this week we're planning to use his book, full of story-starting ideas, to inspire our own creative writing. We'll be asking you this week to build up your ideas, choosing one of your favourite scenes from his book, and to stimulate your own ideas of a story. And we'll all be entering our writing into a creative writing competition. Later this term, when Sam can visit himself, he'll be giving out some prizes for the stories that he enjoyed reading most. Today we're going to be using the book you have in front of you, Don't Look in This Book, to describe a character to be used in our own narrative writing. Now you've found all of these stories, you'll wonder how they end. Well, that's the most exciting part. It's down to you, my friend. These stories are yours to talk about, draw, or even write. So fire up your imagination. You're in for a ride. Hold tight. First of all, flick through your own copy of Don't Look in This Book. Start to consider, what is your favourite story starter? Perhaps it's the wacky wizards, or the scene at the bottom of the ocean. Maybe even the unicorn with laser beam eyes. Or it could be the tigers on the train, the Arctic ninjas, or the mighty monsters. All of these settings and characters are different, and one of them might just get your imagination flowing. Now you have chosen your favourite story, we're going to develop your main character, or characters if there's more than one. So look carefully at the double page you have chosen. Is one of your main characters already on the page? Are they a person? Are they an animal? Are they a mystical being? Or perhaps it's someone not on the page yet, someone who's going to come into the story setting very soon. Once you've decided on your main character or characters, draw them in the middle of your page and also give them names. Have a go at describing your character's appearance. What does your character look like? And it's important that we can describe our characters as that allows the reader to picture what our character looks like. You can use adjectives or describing words to add detail to your main character, and you can label these words around the edge of your drawing. And this will help form a plan for our writing later this week. If you want to challenge yourself further today, then think about how you can improve those initial vocabulary choices that you wrote down. Can you use a thesaurus to make the vocabulary more visual and exciting for the reader? For example, rather than just saying long hair, be more specific, shoulder length, more descriptive, wispy. Describe the colour, snowy white. And you can do this and expand on all of your initial thoughts by looking closer at vocabulary choices and jotting down more detailed ideas. For example, rather than just saying he wears a crown, it's gold, bejewelled, heavy. The thin face is pale and sunken. Wears a cloak that's velvet, midnight blue, floor length. Wears a nice robe. It's expensive, fine, embroidered. Slim, instead of slim, maybe stooped, slender. And when you then go on to write your story later this week, you will have some exciting vocabulary to really grip the reader. As well as describing the appearance of your character, you could take this description further by using your senses. What would the character sound like? What would they smell like? What would their clothes feel like? And you can focus on describing things that will tell the reader something important. For example, what clues can we give that the king is wealthy and old? Wow, perhaps he's heavily perfumed, silky and feeble voice. He wears soft and luxurious fur. He wears leather boots that click-clack loudly. And there we've used all of our senses to not only describe what we can see on the king, but what we can hear and what we can smell, and also maybe some textures. If you want to take your description even further, as well as descriptive language choices, you could also use figurative language, which compares your character to other things in this world and paints a vivid image for the reader. Some figurative language you might have already heard of in class is perhaps using a simile. Rather than saying his hair is white, you could compare it to snow. The king's hair is as white as snow. And you can use similes and comparisons using as or the word like. Especially if you're in upper key stage 2, you might be able to use a metaphor to compare your character to something else by saying it is that other thing. Read the example on the screen to help you. Similar to a metaphor is personification. Again, if you're in Key Stage 2, you'll have used personification in class, and that describes a non-living object as having human features. For example, the cloak hung lazily over his shoulders. Can you use any figurative language descriptions for your character from your story? Onto your character profile, you could also annotate your main character with some personality traits, as well as their appearance, what they physically look on the outside. What is that character like on the inside? How do they behave? How do they think? How do they feel? Rather than just listing the character traits, for example, saying that they are cruel or generous or powerful, can you show it rather than tell it, which is a more complex way of writing? For example, rather than just saying the king is powerful, how could you show that the king is powerful? With a click of his fingers, the wolves appeared. The king waved a delicate hand, and the table filled instantly with delicious fruits and cakes. That paints a much more vivid image of how the king is powerful and gains respect. Once you have drawn and annotated your character, if you would like to take that final step, you could put some of these ideas and vocabulary together. If you want to do this, it's an optional challenge. Then remember, you don't need to include every single detail that you have written on your annotations today. You could pick out the most important that give the reader useful clues about what your character is like. You can group similar points together. You can vary your word choices and sentence structure, and this will help to make your writing engaging. You can also use speech and action, which will help show your reader about the character's personality rather than just telling everything in a long description using descriptive vocabulary. Now, we'll all be doing this later in the week when we write our stories, but if you'd like to get a head start on this paragraph about your character, you could have a go today. If you wanted to have a go at putting together all of your ideas from today into a paragraph, have a look at this short example of how you might be able to do it too. King Enk's tall, slender frame appeared in the doorway. As he entered the room, every creature and person fell silent. As the long velvet cape that hung limply around his narrow shoulders swept across the floor, his servants bowed low. A heavy, bejewelled crown sat on top of his wispy white hair, and the soft faux fur that trimmed the top of his cloak framed his grey face. From the end of his pointed chin sprouted a pointed beard, as white as snow. At a click of his spindly fingers, a dozen wolves appeared. "Guards!" he said, in a silky voice which oozed confidence. "Show our visitor how we greet Elseworlders." A cruel smile twisted on the king's face, and his silver eyes flashed dangerously. As you are thinking of descriptive vocabulary for your character that you're creating, you can pause the video on some of these word maps to help you describe different parts of them. On the screen at the minute are words that may describe parts of their face and hair, and there's some more here going deeper into the eyes, mouth, nose, teeth. On this slide there's some words describing the face, into the body, the arms. And if you wanted to describe more than just the physical appearance and use the senses, you might describe their voice of what can be heard, their clothes, and also how they might move. If you wanted to take the appearance description even further, you could think about describing your character on the inside. What are their traits? So, to recap today's task, first of all, make sure you have read or listened to the story starters in Don't Look in This Book by Sam Langley Swain. Once you've done that, choose a favourite story from this book and create a main character, either one that you can already see on the pages or someone or something that will enter that story. Draw this character in the middle of your page and give them a name. Annotate your character with some descriptive vocabulary. If you look back on the slides, you can choose the level of challenge and detail that you want to do today. An optional extra is to use your vocabulary plan to write a short paragraph describing your character in full. There's no submission requirements. Use this later in the week for your own story writing, and your teachers can't wait to read that.